All right, guys. So since I don't have much plans for I don't have much plans to make a short New Year's Day announcement video on my YouTube channel. I decided to do this live stream because I feel like it right now. So, guys, welcome to 2026, everyone. And I don't have my MSM Monster avatar for January just yet, so I'm using my a picture of my Gary the Snake toy from Zootopia. So yeah, I'm only here to discuss my further thoughts on certain things that I regret not mentioning in my New Year's Eve live stream. And one of these things is the this movie of some sort by Paul's Vids called Sotoland. Now, Sotoland is the third installment of the Paul's Vids Dark Thomas, series, whatever I want to call it, or the Shed 17 franchise. Because, as we all know, Paul's Vids is known for making the Shed 17 and Project G1 videos on his YouTube channel, where it focuses on, dark stories and disturbing stuff about Thomas and his friends. I've seen those two before, and I thought they were alright at first, but then I was like, okay, this may actually traumatize some fans. So yeah, Shed 17 was pretty weird in my opinion. I mean, it was okay for the most part, but I didn't like seeing, some of the Thomas characters, getting their own fates and stuff like that, because that was pretty disturbing. And don't get me started about that, this one scene with Thomas where he turns into a skeleton. Don't get me started on that. And as for Project G1, well, Project G1 was okay too, but it still had its disturbing moments here and there, which I'm not going to go into detail about. But I will go into detail about Soderland, about what happens in this movie of some sort. All right, so I'm just bringing up the Soderland video. And I'm just gonna see what is in there. All right, so Soderland takes place in 2038, which is like a long way away. So it says that Sodor has become a pariah state, blockaded from the outside world by the UK. The engines only have hope. The engine's only hope is to try to read the description, but just wouldn't let me really. Sorry about that, guys. I was just, I was thinking of my time to think of what happens in the story. So in this Dark Thomas Media movie of some sort, Soderland just, it's pretty disturbing, and it takes place in 2038, like I said before. It's where all the engines are, they're still very decaying. There is there's some horrible things going around, and there's this one man who just wants to try and try and solve a case of some sort, where he tries to learn the truth about about Thomas. Like he was talking to him at the beginning of the movie. and then he was talking about all of his, you know, his crimes of some sort. Just correct me if I'm wrong about this, because I'm not very good with, Doug Thomas media, because I don't watch them that much. I mean, I don't even watch the Soda Fallout or something like that, or other Doug Thomas media, because they aren't worth my attention. All right, so let's talk about some scenes about Soderland and why I think Let's talk about some scenes in Soderland, and I think that was some of them were pretty disturbing, while others were kind of weird. I mean, I'm going to give you some major spoilers because at the end of the movie, all of Thomas's friends, like including some of the main Steam team members, as well as Diesel 10, got revived by this Thomas human of some sort. I mean, it's like a human body with Thomas's face on it, which that was cursed. So it looks like I was just watching the Solarland clip myself, and I'm not going to show it to you guys because for obvious reasons. But Solarland is pretty disturbing. It's got a lot of very horrifying scenes in there. I mean, there's just one scene where this weird Thomas of some sort just puffs out of a shed, and then his face turns out to be some sort of worm-like body, and just comes out, and then he just, I'm not going to explain much because it's very weird as hell. I mean, I need to go. I need to go rewatch Shed 17 and Project G1 for some time because I need to get like a better understanding about what really happens in these two movies or documentaries of some sort, so I can find out what actually happens in Soto Land and just and see what happens. I mean, there's just one disturbing scene I found that just where this mad scientist of some sort, I forgot his name, but after the liquid from that tank that Thomas was looking at in Shed 17 before he turns into a skeleton, the liquid just falls on him and then he just turns into this weird monster of some sort. Is this meant to be like a throwback to the first Shed 17 where, Thomas becomes a skeleton. I'm not sure if it's the case, but it seems likely. And since I don't have much else to say about Soderland, I'm just gonna say Soderland isn't actually it's not actually that bad as Project G1 or Shed 17 in terms of how scary it is, but it was still all right, I guess. I mean, I like to think that the Shed 17 and Project G1, sorry guys, I like to think that these two, the documentaries, as well as Soderland, take place in an alternative Thomas and Friends universe where, some dark things happen and biofusion was a thing. Yeah, I know, right? All right, so I'm going to talk about my further thoughts on a few other things. So just Oh, actually, I don't have anything else to talk my further thoughts about. So yeah, I think I'm just gonna talk about some future plans I'm gonna be doing this year. I mean, of course, it's only the first day of January for me. So yeah. So what I'm going to be doing in January or something like that is that I'm actually going to Singapore. Yes, because my real family has actually bought the tickets to go to this country, and I've always wanted to go to another country. I mean, sure, I've been to China, but that was just one country, and so is Australia. But I think Singapore, I'm sure, will be a pretty nice country. They even have a Universal Studios there. I'm like, wow, that's so cool. And speaking of Universal Studios, I'm also going to talk about my thoughts on, other theme parks in general. Of course, while I was in Australia, I went to Warner Brothers Movie World as well as SeaWorld and Dreamworld. Those were fun times. I even went to like a couple of Disneylands before. Not in America, but like in Asia. Although I'm having a feeling that the Walt Disney theme parks are starting to go downhill for some reason. I mean, prices are becoming too high. There have been some horrific accidents and other crazy things that happened at some Disney parks, especially in America, like Magic Kingdom and Disneyland California. Yeah, I'm not going to be, we don't talk about those too much. And those are reasons why I probably don't want to go to Disneyland California or Magic Kingdom my entire life. I mean, I was planning to go to there as a kid, but I realized, how expensive they were, and I thought maybe it's not a good idea to go there. Not to mention, I've heard a very dark story about someone who has been killed at Disneyland due to an allergic reaction, and then Disney didn't do anything to, help fix those problems and, stuff like that. This just shows you that Disney can be quite a pain in the A word at times. I mean, it's bad enough that, some companies in our world are, sometimes they're very corrupt. They make horrible decisions, you know. I mean, Mattel, Thomas and Friends, no, Mattel, the company that owns Thomas and Friends, has done something pretty bad before. Like, they made this alleged statement where they don't want to associate with the autistic community, which really shattered my heart into a million pieces. But I think they're trying to redeem themselves as of 2025 because they were just caring about the fans, about the classic series of Thomas and Friends. It's pretty cool. So should I really forgive Mattel for doing this? I mean, at least they're not as like they're greedy as at least they're not greedy or scummy as Disney or Viacom. Okay, I think sorry if I mute my microphone for long periods of time. I just think of, different things to, think about what I'm gonna say next, because which usually takes me a very long time to do so. Alright, so I'm going to be doing another live stream like once I get back from Singapore. And I'm going to be it's gonna be like an Australia Day live stream on the 26th of January. But I won't tell you guys what it's about because it's gonna be a secret. Now back to the Singapore thing. So yeah. I hope my trip to Singapore goes well. I mean, I'm definitely gonna have a good time at Universal Studios there. I might even post like a few videos of myself doing some stuff, and make a compilation about it so you guys can see it. Alright, so what was I gonna say? Oh yeah. So unlike some of my friends on YouTube, I don't usually post too often, like every day, because mainly because I've got university as well as back then I had a lot of school days and I wanted to focus more on my work rather than just, sticking to social media all the time because I know that's, not always worth it, if you know what I mean. Okay, so if I don't have anything else to say in this live stream, I might just end it off early. So yeah. And if any of you guys aren't watching my live stream, then I might just end it off early though, because I really have to, get to work pretty soon, as well as do other things in my life. So yeah. So guys, let's hope 2026 will be a great year. And I promise you guys that I'm gonna make making more videos this year. I mean, I mean, there'll probably be mostly discussion videos, while others are just My Singing Monsters gaming videos, and probably some others, maybe even some music videos too. But let me know what you want to see on my channel next because I'm very curious to know. So, do you want to see more like Do you want to see more videos involving Thomas the Tank Engine? Actually, I might do a review or a rant on the brand new 2026 Thomas series, which is about to happen this year, but I don't know when. So if the series is good, then I might just I might do a review on it. But if the series is bad, then I'm just gonna do a rant on it and see how well it goes. Of course, there's not much about stuff about the 2026 Thomas series yet. There's only just leaked pictures of the merchandise toys, which I've discussed before in a video. But there are some. There are some. Some people that are just saying that the designs for the Thomas characters, especially the faces, are AI generated, and I can kind of see where they're going. The faces of these characters, I did explain, didn't look great, and they're kind of weird and strange. A good example is James, whose nose is actually pretty wrong. It looks like he has Edward's face of some sort because of the shape of his nose, I think. And the fact that, the engines have eye color in them just makes them look kind of creepy, if you ask me. I don't have a problem with eye color for the most part. I just think it makes, the Thomas characters look kind of, they make people want to. No, they look like they want to stare into people's souls. I'm perfectly fine with the black pupils you see in the classic model and TV series because that's what we got used to. Actually, I do have a few predictions about what might happen for the show because remember I said before that I hope the show is not AI generated. I wouldn't mind if it's 2D like Oranges Go, but I don't want it to be like unrealistic and very bouncy like Oranges Go because if it's like this, then I'm also hoping that there'll be probably more adult voice actors rather than kid actors. I wouldn't mind having child actors in shows, but since Thomas and the Friends are mainly adult characters, I think it's you should have these actors voice them. I'm talking about the full grown adult ones. I don't know if they'll ever bring back some of the original voice cast like John Hassler or Joseph May as the role for Thomas. I'm not sure if they'll bring back some of the CGI voice actors, but looks like we'll just have to wait and see about the new Thomas show. And what I'm really hoping is that the The series should be more, consistent to the source material. So there shouldn't be a lot of things. There shouldn't be a lot of things made up about it, because Oranges Go. It's bad enough that they used, they turned Sodor into some kind of random island with lots of jungles, canyons, and deserts, something that a British island doesn't even have, and that made me think, wait a second, is Sodor a combination of like Britain, Africa, and America and stuff like that? And when I mean America, I mean like, the Americas, like North and South America, because they have like rainforests in them, and the Soda and Oranges Go appears to have them. Not to mention there's canyons in them. This is just really confusing, by the way. I mean, that's the problem with, some Thomas and Friends episodes, like, especially the bad ones from the new model series. They just sort of confuse me. I mean, I like to think that, some of these episodes take place before some, a character just redeemed themselves. Like, a good example would be like Edward Strikes Out, where, Edward was being very mean to Rocky by calling him newfangled nonsense. I mean, this makes me think that, this one, this episode would take place before Edward was wise and a much younger engine. I mean, this is, this is a good potential for the episode to be good. So. I mean, many of the Thomas and Friends episodes I know have at least some potential to be written pretty well and not have any plot holes or problems with them. I'm not sure if I can say the same thing about Origins Go though, because it does have some positives, but it also has a lot of negatives from what I've heard. Sorry about that, guys. I'm just gonna have to, put my mic on for mute for some time because I'm just inspecting something. I'm just gonna rearrange my room a little bit. So yeah. All right, guys. So sorry about this. This took me a lot of things to arrange my room. So yeah, I do have a lot of stuff in my room, by the way. But anyways, I think that's all I'm gonna do for this live stream. So let's hope 2026 will be a great year as 2025. Before I end it off, I'm just gonna show you my little own firework display that I made right there. All I gotta do is do this. This is a good thing to say Happy New Year to most of you guys. And with that said, this is ZSG54 Studios signing off, and let's hope for the best in 2026. Catch you later, y'all.